Hello friends, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. This first project we've got today is using just some scrap wood. These are 2x4s and they were destined for the burn pile, so I pulled them out and let's make something cute with them. I've got the hazelnut Waverly chalk paint and going to paint one of them, and this is going to become our daddy bunny. And I painted all sides and the top and left the bottom just plain and allowed that to dry. And then I got out my plaster color and we're going to do the mommy bunny with that color. So I want to put a face on it, obviously, and so I'm just kind of doing a little face that I'm thinking would look cute for a Mr. Bunny. And I was looking at this thinking, gosh, it looks a lot like a cat too. But I'm just kind of erasing it so then it's not so evident when I go to put it on with, I'm using acrylic paints and a marker. The best way to do it with nice round dots is just to dip it into the paint, and sometimes it doesn't want to go quite round like you can see here. And then I did actually go over it one more time and then I made a mess with it, so I cleaned it up, fixed it. Now you can see that everything looks good. And I got my blush pink out. Now to make a heart, you can take 2 dots, put them, dot them together and then pull it down into the V shape, and that makes a perfect little heart. Everything's dry at this point and I'm just going to do my detailing work. And we got to have some whiskers for a bunny rabbit. Now I don't show this on here, but I did actually add some eyelashes for the girl and eyebrows for the boy. Now I am going to use some of the nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put some wire in it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to make it to form the ear shapes. And so I used hot glue to adhere that down to the wire and just work with it, until you've got something where you've got a shape. And you could use, anything that you had. The wire I had was kind of thin, so I ended up doubling it. And this is how it looks. All right. So now I wanted to put a little light in their eyes. You've got to do that or it's just not complete. And we're going to just put some rosy cheeks on these little cuties. Try and get it as your brush as dry as possible without, completely getting rid of the color. And now I'm going to add to my ears, and I'm just going to hot glue some of this cute fabric onto it and just trim around with the scissors. This one was a fun one to make. I started out with just blocks that were destined for the burn pile, and it's just fun, the process of going through basically, making something with what you have and, really not needing to purchase anything. It was just so much fun to do. I love how you can, get started with a project and then it ends up morphing before your very eyes into what you wanted it to, or even better. I really love how these turned out. And as far as fabric and stuff like that, it's nice to have that stuff on hand, because that way when you're ready to craft, you've got something. You don't have to run to the store. This was some fabric I made some masks with, and it had a nice little hopeful sentiments on it, and it was like the perfect pink for this cute little mama bunny. Just hot glue that cute little bow on there, and we calling it good for her. and he needed a bow too. And I wasn't quite sure what to do. And then I spotted in my ribbon stash, oh, carrots. I got carrot ribbon, so we can make a little bow tie for Mr. Bunny. Daddy Bunny, Mr. Bunny, whatever you think. It did need a little something down there. Here's the cute little couple. Like I said, I put eyebrows on him and then I put eyelashes on her. I'm loving how these turned out, and I hope you give these a try too, because this was really fun to do. And on to the next DIY. DIY number 2. Okay, this is obviously a Merry Christmas sign, and when I pulled this off, it had like this little fuzzy stuff on there. And I didn't want to fuss around with trying to get that off, so I just used some of this. It was the backing of a canvas. And I save stuff like that so then I can use it for other projects. And I know this is going to be too big for my inner square, but it gives me something to start with, and I just work with it and try and keep the cutting as straight as possible. Trimming, fitting until you've got it. And when I did get done with it, it was slightly bit where you could see, around the edge, but I'll show you how I fixed that. Now, I picked up these gorgeous napkins yesterday. I was with my friends, and this one store had a ton of beautiful napkins, and I was just so fortunate to, come upon this. And when I started, I wasn't sure, if I was going to use that little strip or not, but cut it nicely, and then I got these down to the first layer because it's a triple layer napkin. And it worked out so nice because everything was so nice and white underneath, and everything showed up nicely. And just Mod Podge that down and apply it down, and it went very well. And I did not put any on top, but a person could if you wanted to. I just kind of liked that dull look to it. And then I'm going to put it down with Aleene's glue in the box. And then if you look closely, you can kind of see there is some spots where you can see, the back of that underneath. And so I decided to look in my stash, and I had some of this really pretty rope. Decided to go for it with the hot glue and rope, and it looked so cute. I've been crafting for years and years, and so I have a pretty good stash of most everything you need. Sometimes there's things that, I don't have any of that, or I ran out and you have to get more, but usually if I see it, I'll pick it up. And there are things that a person can use, more often, and you kind of know what you need. Isn't that just cute? It's just a napkin. I just love it. And I might use this again. I could see myself maybe trimming around the bird, the flowers and the leaves, and putting that on a different background. Let's look at DIY number 3. This is a cute, quick one. And I just wanted to show, a process of using stickers, using my vintage duck egg, which I love. And I'm going to put that down as the base layer. And again, this came from the scrap pile. This is a piece of cedar wood. You definitely want to make sure that your paint is dry. And then I'm going to get my stickers out, and I'm just going to try and, put those in where everything fits. And a quick tip too, when you sand off on chalk paint, it makes it so nice and smooth. And I did kind of want it a little bit, rough looking. And I'm just going to put these stickers down, and I know I'm not going to be keeping them down. I'm just using this as a base, and you'll see how you do this. And it didn't matter what the stickers look like because I was not going to be using them in the final project. And so here I am. I'm going to apply another paint right over the top. And then that vintage duck egg will show right underneath. And that will be what you'll see. Such a fun, easy, quick project. And I did take the stickers off while everything was still wet. I don't know if it'd matter either way. I just didn't want them to dry on there. It's kind of fun to see the reveal. I just had a thought, what if a person did an ombre look to some of this stuff? You could totally do like light to dark. That would look fun. On my it on there, that little spot, I really needed to do I pressed that down really hard, the dot to the eye, and now I'm really trying to fuss to get it off. We've got to work hard to get it off. And one little brush with the sanding paper, and it was good to go. Just think of the different things you could do. I could have reversed it, did white underneath, or the cream color, and then put the other color on the top. You could there's so many possibilities to this little technique with stickers. Let's move on to DIY number 4. This is a Dollar Tree item, and this thing comes with 2 bunnies, and it's kind of meant for children. But I'm going to just take and glue these together with some good old wood glue and allow that to dry. I did have to weight it down because it kind of wanted to curl up. Otherwise, these things are just so thin. I just wanted a little bit more, little thicker. And so I'm just going to simply Mod Podge some pretty paper on there, and I believe the paper I got was from Hobby Lobby, and it was 69 cents, and I had plenty more left over. And I've showed this technique before. You'll want to trim close to the edge, and then I'm just going to use a nail file to file away, sand away the edges, and it just makes it so crisp and nice. And I did have a subscriber that kind of said rather than going across, go up and down, and that really is a good tip. You see what I'm saying? If you go up and down, then you're not apt to rip the paper. Alright, I got that part done, and now I just want to put it on a stand. Here's another piece of the cedar that was destined for the burn pile, and I'm just going to put a couple Jenga blocks on there using both glues, the long term and the short term, and just glue that so it stands up. And this one turned out cuter than I thought too. I just love how everything turned out. I kind of had a vision of what I wanted. So this is just a package of like greenery from Dollar Tree, and hot glue works really good for this stuff. I mean, it does kind of flake, but if you can get the majority of it to stay on there, it works really nice. It just covers up all the block pieces, and then I was able to go along and add some of this these flowers, and I just used my tool just so I didn't burn my fingers and pop that right in there. And that's another thing, have flowers on hand, so when you want to do stuff like this, you've got, you can just go for it. And then this is, these little, they're kind of like a glossy dot. And I've got a few things like that around because I like to make cards. And so I'm going to use this one as an eye. And it just wasn't finished until you put that little light shine in it with the little white. And 1 or 2 dots is great. If you did 1, or well, if you do 2, do a smaller one behind it. And that is it. Isn't that a pretty little bunny? I love how it turned out. And it started with, a dollar thing for a kid's craft. And it's just such a fun process to go through and make it, decor for your home. And last but not least, DIY number 5. I wanted to do another craft project with a can, and we're going to do more Mod Podging. And this turned out different than what I thought, differently. And these I had cut out prior and just kind of set them aside for the right time, just using some wood pieces, gluing them together. And this is a napkin that I got from one of my subscribers. She doesn't want me to name her name, but she's a sweetheart. And so I'm just trimming along and trying to eyeball it as to where it's going to, be on that can. And I did see it was just a slight bit short. So you'll see what I did with that. Now, when I started doing this, I thought, I'm just going to put it right on there. And we're going to have the shiny underneath. And had I did white, it would have been a total different look. But actually, this is kind of cute how it turned out. It ended up being kind of a shimmery color. And I think it's the combination of that silver and then this, kind of color too with the brownish, and it kind of shines through. You can already see that it's kind of shimmery underneath. I'm bringing everything down to 1 layer. I believe this was just a 2-layer napkin. And just work it along, eyeballing things and pressing it down and using your paintbrush to kind of, put it into place. And just take your time and go little by little and lifting it and applying and putting it down. And then set that aside to dry, and then I wanted to work on the lid using that Arteza acrylic paint again, and I'm just going to paint the entire lid top. And this is like a teal color. It was much too bright, so I had been up in where my daughter lives, and they have the Dixie Belle line, and it's grunge gray. And I didn't notice that until I got home because I was hoping it was like a brown. Well, anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to definitely use it anyway. And so I'm just putting this wax on there. And the wax is nice because you can kind of add obviously some grunge to it. It's worn. And I'm just going to put this on make that bead for the lid. I'm going to put it on there. I did put some spackling in there to fill in the hole. When things are dry, go ahead and go over the entire thing with your grunge gray, and it just kind of adds to it. So this is all dry and ready for my grunge gray. And before you take the napkin off the top, you'll want to make sure that's dry too so none of it rips. So I am trying to dull things down and dry brushing, but it still was pretty shiny. If you can imagine, if I would have painted it white, it'd totally look different. Isn't that fun? What a pretty, pretty napkin. Well, thank you, friends, for coming and watching. I appreciate you supporting my channel and all your wonderful comments. Have a wonderful week, and we'll keep crafting, and we'll see you on the next one. One more look. I did want to put this in because I forgot it in the final. There they are, Mr. and Mrs. Bunny. All right, now I can say goodbye. Thank you, friends. Have a good week. Bye-bye.